12 Home Depot shopping secrets employees never want you to know. And the moment you hear them, you'll realize you've been shopping blind. Because behind those orange aisles is a hidden system employees follow quietly, hoping shoppers never catch on. And the painful truth is that you've walked past savings, loopholes, and insider tricks for years without even realizing it. By the end of this video, you'll shop at Home Depot with a level of control most customers never achieve. So, let's start with the very first secret. The one sitting in plain sight on every single shelf you've ever walked past. The price isn't the price. Most people walk into Home Depot believing the number on the shelf is the end of the conversation. But that belief is exactly what the store counts on. Because the truth is far more slippery. The price you see is almost never the price that item is meant to sell for. You imagine every price going through some corporate ritual. Calculated, approved, finalized. But employees see something very different behind the scenes. They watch prices shift, dip, freeze, and quietly crumble, depending on how desperate the store is to move a product. And here's the part nobody tells you. You've been paying for that ignorance every single time you shop. While you've been worrying about whether an item will sell out, employees already know which products are about to get cheaper. They know which items have been sitting too long. They know which ones the manager wants gone. And they know which products are basically time bombs waiting for the next price drop. The number you see on the shelf? In many cases, it's just the holding price. The one meant to catch impatient customers before the real discount lands. Once you understand that, you stop rushing into purchases and start watching the store the way employees do. You notice which shelves are stagnant. You notice which products mysteriously stay untouched. And suddenly, you're not guessing anymore. You're seeing the hidden rhythm of the store. And if realizing that the shelf price is just an illusion feels unsettling, wait until you hear where Home Depot hides the deals they hope customers never wander into. The aisles with secrets. You've probably walked every aisle of Home Depot at some point, but you haven't walked the right ones. Because tucked deep inside this massive warehouse of lumber, lighting, and lawn equipment are pockets of the store most shoppers never notice. And employees quietly rely on that blindness. These aren't the main aisles or the big displays. They're not the flashy end caps designed to hook your attention. These are the forgotten corners, the low-traffic stretches, the quiet sections of shelving where the store hides the products they want gone without ever announcing it. Every Home Depot has them, and employees know exactly where they are. Customers, however, walk past them every single day thinking they're just dull or empty sections of the store. In reality, they're dumping grounds for the deepest, quietest markdowns you'll ever find. This is where you'll see items that were overstocked, opened, returned, misordered, or phased out. Products that can't go back to the manufacturer. Merchandise managers just want off the floor, out of the system, and out of sight. And since the store doesn't want crowds swarming the deals, they bury them in these blind spot aisles, where almost nobody ever looks. If you've ever wondered why you never seem to catch the best deals before they vanish, it's because they were never placed in your line of sight to begin with. And here's the sneaky part. Employees know exactly what's back there. They walk customers toward full-price merchandise, while the real bargains sit quietly in these dead zones, untouched and unseen. Once you realize these hidden aisles exist, the store feels completely different. You stop browsing like a casual shopper and start moving like a hunter. You check the sections other customers ignore, and suddenly the deals that used to feel impossible to catch begin showing up everywhere. But hidden aisles are only the beginning, because the next secret proves you have far more control over the price than Home Depot ever wants you to believe. The price you see isn't the price you have to pay. Most shoppers walk into Home Depot like they're entering a courtroom, believing the price is final, the numbers are carved in stone, and the only choice is to buy or walk away. But that mindset is exactly what the store wants. Because the truth is, almost nobody realizes how negotiable Home Depot really is. Employees won't say it out loud, But they know managers have the power to drop prices on a huge range of items. Not clearance items, not sale leftovers, regular everyday products that happen to have a dented box, a missing manual, a scuffed corner, or packaging that looks a little too lived in. To an employee, these imperfections are a nuisance. To the store, they're a liability. To a shopper who knows better, they're leverage. And here's what makes it even more shocking. The discount doesn't have to be massive. Sometimes all it takes is a customer pointing out a flaw the store can't ignore. Other times, it's simply a product that's been sitting too long. Managers know what needs to move, and they're often more flexible than anyone realizes. As long as you ask the right way. You don't need a script, and you don't need to be confrontational. A simple, calm question like, "Is there anything you can do on the price because of this damage?" can unlock a price drop you never thought possible. Employees are trained not to volunteer this information, because once customers realize they can negotiate, the floodgates open, and the store loses margin fast. But once you learn it, you stop seeing those imperfections as problems. They become opportunities. Every dent, scratch, return, or dusty box becomes a quiet invitation to pay less. And if learning you can negotiate feels empowering, wait until you discover how much timing changes everything. The calendar hidden behind every price drop. Most shoppers think discounts at Home Depot come out of nowhere. Random promotions, surprise markdowns, seasonal deals that appear whenever corporate feels generous. But employees know better. They know there's a quiet calendar running behind the scenes, a predictable rhythm of price drops that customers never see. This hidden schedule determines which products get cheaper, when they get cheaper, and how quickly the price will fall once the markdown cycle begins. It isn't advertised, it isn't posted, and it absolutely isn't designed for customers to follow. It's for the employees, the managers, and the inventory system, not for the people walking the aisles. Think about the last time you bought something seasonal: patio furniture, grills, garden gear, power tools, tied to holiday promotions. You probably assumed the sale was a coincidence. It wasn't. Home Depot follows a strict internal timeline. If something doesn't sell fast enough, or if the next season is creeping in too quickly, the markdown schedule quietly kicks in. Employees can see it coming long before customers do. And here's where it gets frustrating. While you're standing there wondering if you should buy now or wait, employees already know the answer. They know which items are about to drop. They know which departments are behind on inventory goals. They know which products corporate wants cleared out immediately. But they're not going to tell you to wait for the discount, because the entire system depends on customers not understanding how the timing works. Once you're aware of this unwritten calendar, you stop treating discounts like surprises. You start predicting them. You start recognizing when an item is a few days away from its next price drop. And suddenly, you're not reacting to sales, you're anticipating them. But if the idea of a secret markdown schedule feels strategic, the next secret is even more manipulative, because Home Depot might match a competitor's price, but only if you know how to force their hand. The price match rules. They hope you never learn. Home Depot loves saying they'll match competitor prices. But what they don't love is customers actually using that power. To most shoppers, price matching sounds like a nice little policy you'll never need. But employees know it's far more dangerous to the store than it looks. Because if you understand how it really works, you can slash prices on products the store expected you to pay full price for. Here's the part almost no customer realizes. Home Depot doesn't just match competitor ads. They don't just match in-store prices. They will often match online prices, special promotions, and temporary deals competitors post quietly on their websites. And because most shoppers never think to check, the store keeps collecting full-price sales while cheaper options exist everywhere else. Employees see this all the time. A shopper asks for help. An associate recommends an item. And right there, seconds away on their phone, is the same product at a lower price from a competitor. But the associate keeps quiet. They're trained to. Price matching slows the store down. It cuts margins. It makes their job harder. It's far easier to let a customer overpay than to open the door to a lower price the system is obligated to honor. And here's where it gets even more twisted. Manufacturers intentionally rename identical products for different stores, so shoppers won't realize they're the same item. Lowe's gets one model number, Home Depot gets another. Same product, different code, a deliberate move to confuse customers. But if you know how to compare the details, you can still force the match. Once you understand the real rules, you stop letting the store decide what something costs. You start checking every major competitor before you buy. You start walking into Home Depot with leverage, not hope. And suddenly, that price match promise becomes a powerful tool instead of a meaningless slogan. But the real fun begins when you move beyond matching prices and start learning how to borrow the most expensive tools in the store without ever paying full price to own them. The rental tricks, hidden in plain sight. Most shoppers stroll past Home Depot's tool rental center, like it's meant only for contractors. A rugged back corner filled with machinery the average person would never touch. But that assumption is exactly what keeps customers in the dark, because this little section of the store is one of the most powerful money savers Home Depot hopes you continue ignoring. Here's the truth. The rental center is the store's back door. It's where you can access insanely expensive equipment, sanders, augers, saws, demolition tools, industrial cleaners, without ever paying the outrageous full price tag to own them. And Home Depot knows that if more customers understood how good this system is, half the tool department would crash overnight. Because what they never advertise is how unbelievably flexible the rental system really is. Most people think it's a flat daily fee, but employees know there are half-day rates, grace periods, and timing loopholes that let you rent pro-grade gear for a fraction of what you'd expect. Return something at a certain time, or rent it later in the day, and you can quietly stretch your rental window without paying $1 more. None of this is written on the signs. None of it is explained at the counter. It's the kind of insider knowledge employees learn through experience and never share unless you already know to ask. What makes this even crazier is how much money customers waste buying tools they'll use once or twice, while the rental center offers a cheaper, easier option just a few steps away. Employees watch shoppers drop hundreds on equipment that could have been rented for the price of lunch. Once you see how powerful this section really is, you stop thinking like a retail buyer and start thinking like someone who has backdoor access to the entire store. You stop overpaying for tools you don't need. You stop filling your garage with gear you'll barely touch. And you start using Home Depot the way employees quietly wish you wouldn't. And before we move on, if these insider secrets are opening your eyes, tap the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know. And the next secret is about to show you something Home Depot will do for you completely free. The free services they never advertise. There's a strange kind of magic inside Home Depot. The store is packed with intimidating tools, complex materials, and equipment most customers assume they must handle entirely on their own. But behind the scenes, employees are trained to perform a surprising amount of labor for you, completely free, and almost nobody ever realizes it. Most shoppers walk around thinking they have to cut the wood themselves, thread the pipes themselves, mix the paint themselves, or adjust locks and keys on their own. But employees know the truth. They know the store will cut lumber to size, thread pipes, retint paint, fix poorly cut keys, shake older paint cans, trim blinds, resize materials, and even walk you through which products actually work together for your specific project. And here's the part they definitely don't want a crowd figuring out. Whenever they perform these services, it adds time, stress, and pressure to their shifts, without adding a single penny to their paychecks. Every cut, every adjustment, every fix takes focus they don't have time for, so employees keep quiet. They wait for the rare customer who already knows to ask. They'll help, but they're not going to announce it, because the fewer people who know these services exist, the smoother their day goes. But once you understand what's available, everything changes. Suddenly, you're not struggling through projects alone. You're leaning on a team of trained specialists who can save you hours of work and a ton of frustration. Instead of buying new tools, you let the store use theirs. Instead of guessing, you let the experts guide you. Instead of wasting time and money, you let Home Depot do the hardest parts for free. And the best part, once you start asking, employees are usually relieved to help, because it means you're one of the few customers who actually knows how the system works. But if free services feel surprising, the next secret reveals something far more manipulative, because the deals displayed front and center are rarely the deals you should trust. The end cap illusion. Every big box store has its tricks, but Home Depot has mastered one of the oldest illusions in retail, the end cap. Those bright, bold displays at the ends of the aisles look like treasure chests, mini stages designed to scream, "Here's the deal, you decent, don't want to miss." And customers fall for it every single day. But employees know the truth. End caps aren't deal zones, they're distraction zones. They're where the store places whatever it wants to move quickly, not necessarily what's actually discounted. Overstock, leftover seasonal items, products with too much inventory, or merchandise the store wants out of the system. That's what fills most end caps. Customers see a big display and assume the price must be special. Employees see the same display and know it's just strategic real estate. Here's what really stings: the real bargains, the genuine markdowns, the deep discounts. They rarely make it to the end caps at all. They're usually buried deeper inside the aisles, tucked into lower shelves, or pushed up high, where almost no one bothers to look. The deals are intentionally placed where you're least likely to see them. And that means every time you grabbed a special buy from a flashy end cap, thinking you scored something rare, there's a good chance you actually walked right past a cheaper, better marked down version of the same item, sitting quietly 10 feet away. Once you see this illusion for what it is, you stop shopping with your eyes and start shopping with awareness. You stop trusting the displays and start hunting the hidden shelves where the real savings hide. And suddenly, the store feels like a completely different battlefield, one you're finally equipped to win. But if you think end caps are misleading, wait until you learn about the part of the store customers rarely approach. Even though it offers benefits so good, it feels like cheating. The Pro Desk Advantage you're allowed to use. Most shoppers walk right past the Pro Desk without even glancing at it. It looks like a restricted zone, a place meant strictly for contractors, builders, and heavy-duty professionals who buy in bulk and speak in measurements most people can barely pronounce. And that's exactly why Home Depot never corrects the misconception, because the truth is almost unbelievable. The Pro Desk isn't off-limits. You're allowed to use it. You just don't know you can. Employees understand the power of that counter. It's where the real deals happen. It's where bulk pricing quietly gets approved, where larger discounts get applied, where stock gets reserved, and where special orders are handled with a level of priority regular shoppers never receive. The Pro Desk is essentially a shortcut, a customer service fast lane with benefits that put the rest of the store to shame. But since most shoppers assume it's not for them, employees don't correct it. Why would they? If the average customer learned they could walk up and get help locating hard-to-find items, adjusting quotes, or getting materials delivered with priority, the line at that desk would stretch down the lumber aisle every day. And nobody working there wants that. The wild part is how much you gain the moment you stop treating it like forbidden territory. You can ask for bulk discounts even if you're not a contractor. You can request better pricing on large purchases. You can get stock checked more thoroughly. And in some cases, you'll get access to deals regular customer service can't touch. Once you realize this desk is available to you, the entire store opens up in a way you never expected. Instead of feeling small, overwhelmed, or unsure, you suddenly have a direct line to the people who can make things happen. But if getting insider-level treatment feels empowering, the next secret hits even harder, because Home Depot's return system gives you more leeway than you've ever imagined, and nobody wants you to figure that out. the return system, with more loopholes than you think. Most shoppers think Home Depot's return policy is strict, 30 days, receipt required, no exceptions. But that belief is exactly what keeps people from discovering just how shockingly flexible the system really is. Employees know the truth. If you understood what the store actually allows, you'd return far more, waste far less, and save a ridiculous amount of money. Because here's what almost no one realizes. Home Depot tracks an enormous number of purchases through your payment method. If you used a card, the system often knows what you bought, even if you lost the receipt, even if it was months ago, even if the packaging looks different now. Customers think returns are a privilege. Employees know they're practically built into the business model. And it goes deeper. Managers have the authority to approve exceptions far beyond what the sign at the counter suggests. Damaged packaging? Usually fine. Wrong color? Fine. Wrong size? Fine. Bought 3 extras just in case, and now want to return the unused ones? Usually fine. Employees won't announce this, because the moment customers start testing the limits, the return counter turns into chaos. The wildest part is how often shoppers talk themselves out of a return the store would have accepted without hesitation. Employees see it constantly, people walking in apologetically, acting like they're breaking a rule, explaining every detail as if begging for forgiveness. Meanwhile, the employee is standing there thinking, if only you knew how easy this actually is. Once you understand how generous the system truly is, you stop letting bad purchases gather dust in your garage. You stop feeling stuck with the wrong materials. You stop eating the cost of mistakes the store is perfectly willing to fix. Home Depot built the return system to keep customers buying without fear, but employees are trained to keep its full power quiet. And if you think hidden return loopholes are surprising, wait until you find out how much inventory Home Depot keeps out of sight, and how employees can see everything you can't. The inventory system that sees everything. If you've ever stood in an aisle staring at an empty shelf, you already know the feeling. That sinking frustration when the product you came for is sold out. Most shoppers take that at face value. They shrug, give up, and move on. But employees know something most customers never even consider. What you see on the shelves is only a fraction of what the store actually has. Behind those aisles is a digital system that tracks every piece of merchandise in the building. Not just what's on display, not just what's in the back, everything. This internal inventory system shows quantities hidden in overhead storage, tucked in steel racks above the aisles, waiting on pallets in receiving, or even loaded on upcoming trucks already scheduled to arrive. Employees can see stock you didn't know existed, and they're trained not to volunteer that information. And here's the frustrating part. When a customer says, "It looks like you're out," most associates will simply agree. Not because they're rude, not because they're lazy, but because checking the system takes time, and climbing up to the overhead racks takes even more. Unless you specifically ask, many employees will let you walk away empty-handed, even when the product is sitting 20 feet above your head. The system itself is incredibly precise. If it says an item exists, it's almost always somewhere in the building, even if it's buried behind 5 other boxes or strapped onto a pallet no one has touched in a week. But since customers don't know to ask, employees rarely feel the pressure to dig deeper. Once you realize this, everything changes. You stop accepting "we're out" as the final answer. You start requesting a system check. You start insisting the overhead racks be scanned. And suddenly, products you thought were gone appear like magic. Not because they just arrived, but because they were there the whole time. But if hidden inventory feels like a secret superpower, the final secret is something employees guard the closest. Because it exposes the subtle ways the store nudges you toward buying things that aren't always in your best interest. The product's employees are quietly told to push. Walk into Home Depot and ask an employee for advice, and you expect honesty. You expect the right product for the job. Maybe even a few expert tips. And while many employees genuinely try to help, there's a hidden force shaping what they recommend. a subtle pressure customers rarely suspect. Behind the scenes, certain products are flagged as priority items, not because they're the best choice, not because they're the most durable, but because the store needs them gone. Maybe the supplier made a deal. Maybe the inventory piled up. Maybe corporate wants a specific number hit this week. Whatever the reason, these items become the ones employees are quietly pushed to promote. Employees know exactly which products carry this invisible weight. They get reminders, they get nudges, and sometimes they get not-so-subtle pressure when those items aren't selling fast enough. That pressure slips into customer conversations in ways that feel natural but aren't. A casual endorsement, a confident, "this is what most people buy." A quick recommendation that sounds helpful but is actually strategic. Once you understand this hidden script, you stop letting the store steer your choices. You start comparing. You start asking pointed questions. You look at alternatives instead of grabbing the first thing an associate hands you. And just like that, you break the illusion and take your power back. If you found value in this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe. Because once you understand what they're pushing and why, everything inside the store starts to make sense in a way you can't ever unsee.